Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, and you're probably wondering what is going on? Why is Deborah live on a Wednesday for a MoxieChat? Well, I have an amazing guest with me today. And so I thought, let's do a special live recording of this podcast conversation because Liz has some amazing information to share with you. And she's actually got a really cool community event coming up that I do not want you to miss. So for those of you who have attended a live recording of the MoxieChat podcast before, you know what to expect. But for those of you who are new, of course, drop in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from today, whether you're catching live or the replay. And while you're doing that, I'm going to share with you a little bit about Liz Faircloth, our guest today. She's the co-founder of the DeRosa Group, and that started in 2005 with her hubby, Matt. The DeRosa Group is based in Trenton, New Jersey, and is an owner of the commercial and residential property with a mission to, get this, transform lives through real estate. I mean, really, like we're weaving all of the things that happen in the Fire Up studio together in that sentence. It's so exciting. So DeRosa controls $60 million of residential and commercial assets throughout the East Coast. And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today is real estate investing. Liz is also the co-founder of the Real Estate Invest Her community, a platform to empower women, come on now, to live a financially free and balanced life on their own terms. Through over 40 meetups across the US and Canada, and an online community and membership that offers accountability and mentorship for women to take their business to the next level. She's the co-host of the Real Estate Invest Her show and recently published her Invest Her's first book, an Amazon bestseller, called The Only Woman in the Room: Knowledge and Inspiration from 20 Successful Real Estate Women Investors. Liz has been interviewed for many articles and top-rated podcasts, including a 2-time guest on the top-rated BiggerPockets Podcast and the Best Ever Show. I actually think you just made an announcement about BiggerPockets, so we'll have to talk about that as well. On a personal side, Liz is an avid runner, has completed several triathlons and marathons, and has 2 adorable children, and last but not least, is a New York Mets fan. Welcome, welcome, Liz.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate being here, and I'm excited to share what I possibly, some good stuff, hopefully, with your audience here.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so we met through the Woman Up community, and I'm trying to connect the dots. Did you reach out to us and say, "Hey, who are you?" or did we reach out to you? I can't even remember.
we first met at the She's Unstoppable conference.
Oh yes,
you were speaking, goodness. And I was speaking, and
yes.
And it was actually I guess it was 2-3 years ago, right, when it was live, and and I just was really I loved what you had to talk about, and I probably followed up after that to connect and continue connect, in relationship building.
I love it. And here we are today. We've had many conversations in the last 7 months in particular. The beauty of the slowing down of the pandemic was that we actually could go through our inbox and look at all of the emails we had tagged to follow up later. Yeah. And really start booking and creating, deeper connections and highlighting one another. And so you've actually been in for twice, I think, for wisdom sessions in the Woman Up community. And for those of you who have not attended or are part of the Woman Up community, you can access the 2 wisdom sessions that we've had Liz on, and they've both been around building wealth, and specifically building wealth through real estate, right? Creative financing, how to get started. And I know that we kind of have sister communities, right? You've got a community of women who are investing in real estate. And I've got a community of women who own brokerages and lead brokerages and are true influencers inside the real estate space. So what is happening in your community right now? What's on your heart right now? What are those conversations that keep bubbling up in your space?
Yeah. It's interesting because we have a really active Facebook community, and that was one of the first things we started when we launched our podcast. Because, talking to people is one thing, but being in a conversation with women in community is really the critical thing. So something I'll either read a lot about, or I'm talking to our meetup leaders about, or I'm just talking to women all the time. What's stopping women from investing or taking it to the next level, or really leveling up their own business? They might have some properties, but they're just like, I want to do this full time. I want to, stop doing this, but really go all in here. Or they're just looking to get into the investing space, and it's very, very hot market. So it takes some strategy, it takes some opportunities, and so there's a lot of reasons that what stops people and stops women. But what I'm talking to and what I'm finding right now is there's two big things, and it comes down to confidence and community. And I know for me, even personally, when I'm trying to work through things and improve or get into something, I usually stop myself because I have a lack of confidence in that area. And I also don't have women holding me accountable to that goal, or holding me accountable to saying, helping me like, okay, Liz, you said you're going to do this. Did you do it, kind of thing? And if I don't have those two things, I don't do it. And I don't take that leap. And there's areas in my own life, right, that I need to work on. And it may not be investing in real estate, but it might be something else. So, it's really important for, as Andres and I have like cultivated this community and are helping women. It's like, how do we, because you can't give someone confidence, right? It's got to come from inside. Yet,
isn't true?
But you can inspire, and you can also help people figure out how do they get that confidence, because it's different for everyone. One of my past lives was, and I'm very passionate about it, is knowing someone's personality to figure out how to get that confidence as quickly as you can. Because there's some people who are some women just go into new things and they're confident, and other women are not. And so they may need more detail. They may need more, like hand holding. They may just need to read a book. I don't know. So that's what I really, I love doing. And I love connecting with people and seeing it come alive, because it's not because of a lack of knowledge or a lack of intellect or a lack of resources. And it's not because of money or any of those things usually. I think it comes down to the confidence piece and to the community piece, because women would rather not do something than do it wrong. At least a lot of the women that I talk to. And I know that just speaking personally.
We hear the same thing inside the Woman Up community. I hear it inside my Power Women community as well, that there's a beautiful combination of conversation or education, like you're talking about, that community piece that really does boost the confidence. Because when we see someone else, in particular, someone who looks like us, right, who has a story similar to ours, when we see them step into something that we're curious about and we see them succeed, it simply creates a deeper confidence for us to say, okay, well, if she can do it, I can do it, And I think investing for so long, I mean, we know for generations that this has really been a male dominated space. Yeah. And a lot of it is that, up until the 70s, women couldn't even buy a house by themselves. Nope. And so, we're new to this. We're learning. And so it can be scary learning something new that you are literally paying for the lessons. Like with your money. And you're like, here, let me try this. Okay, there goes $40,000. So, one of the fun conversations that we had a few weeks ago was around creative financing, and how you personally, not only with you and your husband, with what you've done investing in, but what you've seen in your community is women actually blossom and expand and stretch and grow, not only personally, but their businesses, right? And the concept of growth versus scaling, so that you have some sanity at the end of the day. I'd love for you to kind of share like that 10,000 foot level of, maybe share a story about how you kind of broke through and became more confident and said, all right, we're going to do this big thing over here. And what happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like as you look back on your own business and your own kind of entrepreneurial path, if you will, because it's a journey and it's still going, right? You start to see these moments that, okay, that happened, and then wow, that really shifted the trajectory of where we're headed. And for so long, my husband and I were investing in small buildings, small multifamily, if you will. And we did it very incrementally and very kind of slowly. And I'm very grateful for that because we were making mistakes and, we got into different types of businesses and, we just were a little bit all over the place, and I think we just had to kind of, I always say some people go into business and they're equipped with what they need to know and they just go quickly, and other people kind of grow up and they just don't give up.
I love that. Equipped or grow up.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of in our, started in our 20s and didn't have a ton of experience and knowledge. So we just kind of grew up as in the business, if you will, making mistakes and going slower, but still trying to getting there. So to answer your question, though, there was a moment where we knew we kind of plateaued. We ran out of, our immediate, friends and family money. We plateaued. The market had just gotten over the crash. So we were at like 2010, and we knew we needed something different. We knew we needed new knowledge. Again, you go back to the confidence and the community part.
Yeah.
So we actually, we never at that point paid for coaching. We kind of went through the school of hard knocks, I like to say. We paid, but we paid by making mistakes. You could pay for coaching, or you could do it the way we did it. Maybe there's other ways, but so we ended up working with somebody in our space. His name is Joe Faircloth, great guy. Wrote some great books on syndication and growth. And anyway, we went through his coaching program. Simultaneously, one of the things he had us do was start to look at larger buildings and start to kind of underrate them, analyze them, if you will, a fancy word of saying analyze the project or the deal. So, and he said, it doesn't matter if you buy them or make offers, just look at 100 deals. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But okay, we're in this coaching program. This is what he told us to do. We're paying him a lot of money. We're sure as how going to do what he says we should be doing.
Right.
So we can kind of remember, like, we're finding all these deals, and then this one opportunity popped up, and we asked the broker if we can, please send us whatever you have in the general 2-hour radius of our home. And a property popped up, and then we kind of confirmed that is an opportunity, and it ended up being this great opportunity that we didn't intended to go after. We literally just needed to fill up our 100 deal analysis, and we ended up purchasing it. It was on 10 acres of land in a little town called Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're actually building another, it's a 49 unit. We're building another 49 units. Actually now we're partnering with the builder. It's, knock on wood, probably one of our most successful projects. And that then changed the trajectory of we don't self-manage everything and landlord everything. We're actually working with third-party managers, which has its own challenges. I'm not going to say it's all roses and sunshine working with third-party management companies. But regardless, that was a really powerful moment that we leveled up our knowledge, we leveled up our processes, and we said, we got to start doing some things differently. And then that just whole experience then opened up this opportunity which then opened up this whole new where we started to really build a team around multifamily and helped us grow 11 years later to projects where, we're able to go in 4 different states and grow a team, not just me and my husband, but like 6 people. So it's neat that was a pivot for us. And that was a very powerful pivot. I don't think that would have come if we didn't put ourselves in the arena to really level up and to look at ourselves and put money down and say, we're doing this. And we're gonna really improve what we're doing, and it's time.
Well, what I love about, really every story you've ever shared, because this is the first time I've heard the coach story. And I love how you, first of all, framed it like, well, you could either pay for a coach or learn the hard way. Either way, you're paying for your knowledge, right? And so why not use a coach? And I'm wondering just how many stories like yours have been created because of his do the 100, right?
Yeah.
Like how many aha moments, how many, bold, brave steps were inspired by that process. And that really is the beauty of a coach, right? And the other side of that is, one of your words that you use to describe yourself, Liz, is generous. And as I'm listening to you talk about this, I'm thinking you've really built the real estate investor community out of out of this beautiful generosity that you carry with you. You're like, these are the things I've learned, and this is the place I wish I had. And so now you've created it with your co-founder. And what I have noticed in that group, because of course I pop in, a couple times a week just to see what are these women doing in here, right? And there is a whole lot of mentorship happening in there. And I find it so fascinating that this is the side of social media that so many people don't talk about. Everyone likes to kind of grumble and complain about, oh, my feed is so, it's so filled with politics or negativity. And I'm thinking, you don't have, you have the power to create these groups in these beautiful spaces. So I'd love to kind of hear what was the impetus to you saying, all right, we need to create this space for women who are starting to get like investment curious. What was that like?
Well, it's interesting because sometimes we create things that we want ourselves, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of like, if I'm going to create something, would it serve me, not selfishly, but serve me in the sense of like, if I'm looking to help people like me, right? Yeah. So you're kind of like your own customer. Yes. And so when Andres and I we would get together and we were actively working on projects. So we were flipping some properties together, and her and I would be kind of getting together over coffee about, life and projects we were working on together because we were kind of partners, and we were partners, and we would be talking and be like, wouldn't it be great to get more women together and to really really kind of bounce things off of each other and wherever they are on the journey? Because what's really I love about our community is there's women who literally don't have to work another day in their lives who are really active in our community. And there's literally women who just woke up yesterday and said, I want to get into this investing business. Right. And everyone between. There's really not just newbies, and there's not just women who just want to, and the women who jump in, typically most women, like 95% of them, come from a really, really good place. Sense I get, I don't know all of them, but just their answers, you could tell. Yeah. So anyway, we said, okay, let's really like create something that not only we want to give back and empower women, but we want to see women wherever they are on the journey get what they need and give. I believe there's things that I need help with. There's things that I can give. And I believe every woman has things to give and get, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, even if they have no experience in investing. I believe that because they may have a marketing experience or project management experience. And that's the other thing is women have so much to give. They don't even realize it. But anyway, that's where that first,
you're like, that's a whole nother conversation, Deborah.
That's a good one.
So true.
But I think so many times I said, Andressa, and we did a lot of soul searching on Andressa and I, because we didn't just jump into, okay, let's just help everybody. We literally wrote down exactly who and how, and we just want to help everyone in investing. And we had this very big passion about my corporate days. I was drawn to helping women for a lot of reasons, same with her. So we had this very shared passion, and we saw it like, why aren't women, we outlive men. We're going to live longer. So the need for finances and a financial abundant mentality and reality are going to be needed. And we just wanted to see that trajectory shift. So we wanted to be part of the solution, and we wanted to be part of it. So we never wanted to create something that was around the two of us. I mean, obviously we founded it, and I obviously we run our podcast, but it's not like we always said, it's not about us. Honestly, I still fiercely mean that. Like, it doesn't matter if people don't know who I am. I'm not attached to that. I really want them to get what they need in the community that we've built.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Well, that before we get to the other words you used to describe yourself, I think it's a perfect time to talk about your definition of success. So one of the interesting things over the last decade of having my own consulting practice, but really the last 25 years of coaching and recruiting and retaining, whether they're real estate entrepreneurs or retail salespeople, right? There's this underlying foundation that motivates people, and that's their own version of success. And we, for so long, and this really happens in the real estate space because it is a male designed, female dominated industry, which is very, very interesting. And so the masculine energy really rises to the top when you see things like their awards ceremonies or how they recognize, because it's always about like the top producer or the top team or the people who make the most money. And when I was in corporate, I found so many, in particular of our female associates, they were like, that's not my goal. My goal is financial freedom. Sure. However, I want to be able to spend more time with my family, or I want to be able to go on 3 more vacations, or I want to be able to do this. So they weren't looking at success from I want to be the top producer, right? It was philanthropy. It was peace of mind. It was well-being. It was all these different like values aligned versions of success. So when I ask the question, how do you define success? What it comes to mind for you?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think success has evolved too, over the years for me, especially now I become a mom. Because, my husband and I started our business, it was just him and I, and, and he quit his job and I kept working, and we just were really focused, and that was great because we spent time together, but when you have kids, it's a different dynamic. You can't literally, you can not spend time with them, obviously, but I just didn't bring kids into the world. I that would be crazy, right?
Right.
Moments I just, want to sell them to the gypsies, but, it's a whole other story. Not joking. But yeah, I think success looks like for me is a balance. And I know that gets overplayed and people are like, oh, the balance is, there's no such thing. I believe there is a such thing. And whatever balance means to you, we always say that, and I feel like we wanted to create this community of women who got what they needed from a financial platform, and obviously not financial platform, from a platform where they can create the freedom that they want.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they have to own 100 doors or it's a lifestyle. That's why people get into real estate investing, and not because they want to be the next Donald Trump. But they really want to create wealth for their families and themselves in a way that works for them. And
right. So, mogul means something different to each person.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think that's very powerful.
And that's why you don't hear, that's why when you go to that's why the networking and the meetups are such an important community builder for us, because the feeling you get from a woman focused group and a meetup is very different when it's male oriented. Yeah. Because you go there and the first thing, I'm going to a conference in soon. First question I'll get is, how many doors do you own? If it's a guy, no question. They'll ask me how many doors I own. Now I'll tell them, and I'll tell them what our portfolio looks like, because now I have to prove myself to this guy probably. And I can do that, but it's not where women go first. If I meet someone, what are you? We were involved in multifamily. I don't start with numbers. Now I share that in our bio because, okay, this woman might know what she's talking about on some level. Yeah. But women don't come from that place. So success doesn't mean numbers, in my opinion. And it's not numbers to me. It's more of impact. And if women could, they bought a property because they got the support they needed at a meetup that we helped create, that looks like success to me.
Well, I think what I'm hearing you say, and what we've, many guests in the past have also recognized in their, wherever they are serving, right? Whatever their lane is right now, that's fulfilling their purpose or their calling, is that when there's too much masculine energy at the table, the conversation is all about planning and all about strategy and all about tactics. And the analogies are about war and sports. And it is very masculine energy, whether it's no matter what gender identified person is speaking. And that's why it's so important for women to rise up in the investing space, because when all you're thinking about as an owner is numbers and strategy and tactics, you lose the humanity, you lose the connection, you lose the connection to the community that you are investing in, right? Yeah. And I've seen so many stories coming out, and a lot on the East Coast, about these landlords that have banded together to help each other in this time, because with all of the rental payments not being required, yet the resources to the landlords not being there. I mean, there's been a lot of lives that have been really turned upside down in that.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you have a community like the real estate investor or like the Woman Up community, that you have a place to go to say, you know, I feel like I'm drowning here. Or does anybody have a lender who can do XYZ in, you know, the next 5 weeks, or whatever the question is, the community allows that. And that's allows a platform or container for those conversations, which from your perspective, Liz, and the helping other people succeed, which is like woven into your heartstrings, right?
Yeah.
That you like, it is about you in that it's you're fulfilling your purpose by creating the space for it. You're not looking for the limelight, but there is a reciprocity in that kind of a community. And I think that's why they become powerful, because everyone is being fed, everyone is being nurtured, everyone is really truly being cared for. Yeah, it really, I mean, I've been part of so many different women's communities, and the ones that thrive are the ones that have leadership and community that truly does have the greater good, right? Like the highest and best for each person, and recognizes that that's different for everyone. So I applaud you on that. So so I already kind of shared that generous was one of your words, but the other two words that you had used to describe yourself were authentic and tenacious, which are two of my favorite words. So let's talk about, when you think about being authentic, generous, and tenacious, why did those three words kind of float to the top for you?
Yeah, authenticity to me is just like being real, like just being yourself, being real, and not trying to, which is, you know, one of the things that I think women have a hard time with. And I've had a hard time with at times, where you're kind of like, okay, what should I say? Who should I be? And I really pride myself on just being very authentic, like just showing up, being very present, and being very like, this is where the mistakes were. This is what I could have done differently. If anything goes wrong, I immediately think, what could I have done differently? Now, sometimes to a fault, right, where I'll beat myself up and it actually wasn't my fault, or I wasn't the one that was in the, you know. But I think, you know, from a, like, running a podcast and speaking and facilitating, I try to be literally as authentic as I possibly can, because it's not roses and sunshine. It's not perfect. I have things that I need to work through. And although I can share, okay, this is what my issue was, this is how I moved through it, and this is what I found to be helpful. I haven't, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm very far from being perfect. But authenticity, because I really have always lived my life coming from like, does this seem like the right thing to do for me and the people I'm serving? And I've had to say no to things that on paper, people would be like, well, I left my corporate job and I left on top, right? I was doing amazing. I was getting paid very well, very securely. And my husband, we were just getting to the point where we're starting to make some rental income. It wasn't like completely replacing what I was making. I wanted to start a family, and I had to go out on faith and have this authenticity to say, this is the right thing. And I, you know, we got this, we'll figure it out. And that to me is authentic.
Yeah.
Speaking authentically. So authenticity is a very holistic term to me. It's not just like sharing my mistakes with people, but it's like really showing up, like,
well, that's the vulnerable side of authenticity, right? I mean, I think when, you know, I always try to put a couple sentences together myself outside of the bio when I have guests on, based on my interactions with them. And I think I've said it many times when I'm talking about you, is that you are no nonsense. You are a straight shooter. You have this knowledge that you know will help others. And that's why you show up. It isn't about the fanfare, and it is very snackable content. It's like, here are the steps to take. Here is where I started. Try that. If that doesn't work, come back to the community and ask another question, and we'll give you another idea. Right? Like you're not like, here's my magic wand. Like, let me help you.
That's not how it worked. And I know.
Yeah.
I think that's really why people say, like, why do you think you have a journey? I mean, I often think, like, I think things do happen for a reason. I've always believed that. But then you start to say, okay, why did the really tough things happen? You know, or why did, you know, and you start to say, okay, well, because now I can share. I could tell people about it because I would tell them anyway,
Yeah.
know, because of who I am. So that's why, yeah, authenticity is a really important one for me. And I just, even when my kids, I'm very mindful, like, how are you feeling? And he's like, fine. Is that really how you're feeling?
Yeah.
You seem upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speak
Well,
your truth, speak your truth.
I think, the interesting thing, I don't know if you've ever heard, there's, FINE has lots of different acronyms, which this might speak to you in the, with your kids too, right? Like it's the feeling inadequate, needing encouragement. Is one of my favorites. And then feeling insecure, neurotic, and emotional is one of my, like with my girlfriends. I wouldn't necessarily call your kids neurotic because it would be like, what does that mean, mommy? But finding the acronym with your kids of what FINE is. Like, let's dig into that because I think that they're being authentic about how we feel is so beautiful. And then I love that really is kind of like the cherry on top of these words is the tenacity at which you go after life. So, and the word tenacious is not, I mean, they're tenacious D, like there are some, there are some things like that. Tenacious isn't though like a mainstream word. Right. It's not one of the buzzwords that fills the social media feed. So how does that show up for you as one of the three? Right.
Yeah. Tenacious, is something that I feel like I've always had. Like, so, if I wanted to, run for student government president in college, I didn't know anyone. It was like my first day. And I'm like, I'm gonna run for this position. Meanwhile, I was like 18. I should have just been going to party, but I'm like, I gotta run for. I'm like, I just like a dork, but that's okay. But I was
that's leadership right there. You're like, I am a boss lady right here.
And so I made that like my mission, right? So I went after that goal very tenaciously, from a sense of like, I'm not someone who has like. I go big or go home. I'll nip at things and I'll just keep going at it and I'll keep coming at it and I'll keep coming at it. And I do it. And I, so sometimes to a fault, and I've had to learn that balance of my own life and I've worked through that. But I got my start too in sales. And so many people say, okay, you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to know how to sell. And everyone sells differently. Women sell very relationship oriented. And so I would cold call, and I learned how to cold call, where you call people.
Wow. Yeah.
It's not fun, right? But I cold called, and I had a
I don't think it's fun either.
I had a guy call me back, and he goes, I don't want what you're selling, but I needed to call you back because I just want to tell you, I love the message you left for me. And he's like, and I love that you call me every month on the dot, and you leave me this lovely message. Again, I have no need for what you want to sell me. So I'm not going to buy what you have, but I really just wanted to tell you that you're doing a great job. And once you get the right people, they're going to buy from you.
Yeah. Once you find your lane,
right.
It's so true, which you have. And I think that that's a very important message for those who are listening with us here today, who are going to hear it on the replay or over on the podcast, which is follow your intuition, follow what it is that is calling you, right? You realized here you're in this corporate gig and, you're making good money and there's financial security, right, for the family. And, in my world, I work a lot with aligning to individuals' core values, like all of their life decisions, whether it's the kind of business, the events they want to attend, the messaging that they put out, making sure that it's values aligned. And the value of financial security is a level 1 value. Level 1 doesn't mean bad. It just means it is the basics. It's like food and shelter, right? Yep. And when you get to the point where whether it's, being scared and doing it anyway, kind of brave.
Yeah.
Or like you've got the funds, but you feel like it's risky, but you're going to do it. But even if you fail, you're okay. Like no matter what, when you are building wealth, that is a much higher level. That's like a 7 or an 8 on the scale, right? That is future generations kind of legacy building wealth. That's not, can we pay the bills? And so it's important to recognize that you might be in a space where you require financial security. And you need to get to the place where you're surrounded by champions who can help you see where you've got some of that creative financing available to you, or simply say, let's spend the next 6 months building that reserve you need. Right? Like we don't have to step out and be crazy. We can't, there are ways to be, to do it in a way that makes all of us comfortable. And that's the beauty of the real estate investor community, is that there's different layers and different levels of investors in there. And there's someone who's put together the strategy that you're thinking, would that work for me? So I did drop the link in the comments. I'll make sure to include it in the blog post. So I want to do a couple things before we wrap up today. The first is I want to do some rapid fire. And then I want to talk about the summit that you have coming up in just a few days. Yeah. So are you ready for some rapid fire?
Yes.
Okay. I love this part because it's always really interesting to hear where people's minds go in this process. So here we go. First question is, what is on your nightstand?
It's a book that I'm wanting to read, but every time I lay in my bed, right before bed, I fall asleep. But it's my theme right now, what I'm focused on for my own growth is who, not how. So it's a book by Dan Sullivan, and it's about, don't worry about the how, figure out the who. So that's
who, not how.
It hasn't been read, but it's going to be read.
It's there. Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
All right. Dark or milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate.
Nice. What was your first concert?
James Taylor.
James Taylor. Okay, that's pretty good.
No, I'm lying. As an adult, that was my first concert. My first concert as a kid was New Kids on the Block.
NKOTB. Yeah. I love it. How fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We met them in the parking lot of a diner in New Jersey. I'm not even joking.
I love it. Oh my God. I used to have a roommate who was New Kids on the Block crazy. I wonder what she's doing right now. Hey, Christina, if you're listening to this, I'm talking about you. Okay. What is your superpower?
I think it's connecting people in relationships and connecting others, and just kind of in the people space would be mine.
Love it. I would definitely agree with that. Okay. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Ooh. People have said I look like Giada, the cooking woman, the one that likes to cook.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
I'm like, all right, she's Italian and she's like, on TV. All right, I like that analogy. So maybe Giada.
I think I could see Giada. I could also see Sandra Bullock playing you really well. Okay. Maybe like a combination of the two of them. Okay, my last rapid fire question, which is, of course, my favorite, which is, what does Moxie mean to you?
I would say like this depth of spirit. Wherever people come from in their life is like this. They come from an energy source. They come from a spirit that serves them in every part of their life. So that's what I think of as like a kind of center of just your energy and your spirit.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a depth of spirit. That speaks to the spiritual geek inside me totally. Okay, so let's get down to business with the annual summit that you host for the real estate investor community. It's coming up. It's in 3 days, which is like 3 more sleeps, sort of, for you as the host of it.
Minor sleep. I'm waking up thinking about things, right?
Yes,
yes. It's like a wedding.
Yes, you need a notebook next to your bed right now on the not who, when, or not who, how, or not how, who. Get rid of the book. That's so funny. So what can people expect at the conference? What does that look like? How much does it cost to get there? Give us the skinny.
Sure. So we kick things off Friday evening. And let me just go back to the theme. The theme is all about leveling up. And we're going to provide great content around 3 pillars of our focus. So investing, business, and self-care. So we like handpicked speakers to basically focus on these themes. And this is all about leveling up wherever you are. If you are starting out as an investor or you're literally growing and scaling, this is all about leveling up wherever you are to wherever you want to go. Our keynote is Lisa Nichols, who's a big motivational speaker, and she's going to be talking about moving through fear. We kick things off Friday night with Wendy Papasan, who many people know, very very well respected real estate agent and broker in the space. She's going to be talking about taking off your mask. So we're going to really kick things off very authentically. And then Saturday, literally, we had a full day of sessions from lead generation to raising private money to moving through fear to building a company culture, whether you're a solopreneur or have a larger team. And then we're going to end the day on a mastermind level perspective, meaning women are actually going to get broken out into small groups, breakout groups on Zoom. And I'm really excited about that because they're going to get a flavor of brainstorming. The whole day and the whole session is going to be about what does level up mean to you, what's holding you back, and where do you want to go next. So what we then have done is after the summit, women are going to be teamed up. Literally, they're going to be connected with 5 other women, so it'll be 6 groups of 6, and they get like best practices around running an accountability group. So they're going to be empowered from literally July to December to do an accountability group with the people we team them up with, so that they can actually achieve what they are excited about achieving as a result of the summit. So the last thing we want to do is like have a rah-rah session and then nothing happens. It's a waste of money, and this is not why we're working so hard to put this on. It's just we have nothing else to do, right? We're literally trying to shift people's trajectories and their goals and their world. You can't do that in a day. No. You could do that by small steps, making things happen. And that's where the accountability groups are going to come in. We've literally written like 6 templated emails. So they're going to get emails throughout the next 6 months. So we're going to keep in front of people. So I'm really excited about that because we're trying to think of all the different things. We're not going like, full on in-person conference until hopefully next year, but we did as much as we could to do an experience for this year.
I love it.
So that's what we have planned, and we're pretty pumped about it. In terms of cost, I know that I think it's like $297 is where we are right now. But all that's included, and I know they're hopefully going to get 10 times the value from the content to the community to the after kind of support.
I love that. Well, and all of the work and compassion that you really pour in, not only into the community on Facebook, but into this summit, it's clear. I mean, the women in the community are very excited about it. You mentioned earlier, like the lineup. I mean, Lisa Nichols is going to be amazing. And I've never seen her and thought, oh yeah, that was okay message. Like she's fire. So like that, I love the lineup. I love that Wendy's speaking for you. Yeah, there's many people inside the Fire Up community and the Woman Up community who do know Wendy. And I think it's when different groups of women come together and support each other, magic truly happens. And, I shared a meme or a quote or whatever you want to call it yesterday. And it was really about like helping women actually embrace the fact that when another woman is doing something that you do, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's selling real estate, whether it is, running a social media marketing company, she's not your competition. She is your sister who you can walk alongside and celebrate with and collaborate with, because you are your own unique self, no matter what it is that you're doing. And I want to congratulate you on creating such a beautiful community. I wish you all of the most amazing success in the summit. I am certain lives will change. Right. Families will achieve goals that they never thought possible. So congratulations on that. I look forward to hearing all about it. I think I'd love to have you come back maybe towards the end of the year and kind of give us a how did it go? Right. How did it all work out? That would be great to have you back on the show to have a recap chat.
I love that. And, love continuing to connect and, add value to one another's communities. It's a pleasure. So thank you.
So true. All right. So before we say goodbye, are there any last words that are on your heart? Any advice or something you want to sprinkle over the community today?
Yeah, I would just say it's listening to ourselves. Taking time to listen to ourselves is one of the best things, one of the best gifts we can give ourselves as women. We're very busy. We're very active. We have like 19 different roles. That's just a lot of women's worlds. So given the gift to take time for silence and some quiet time and to really just like kind of like have a like, what's up? How are things going? Conversations with yourself, if you will. And then to take action on those things, I think is a gift that I continually work on giving myself. And when I do, I'm my better self, right? Whatever version I want to be. I think more women need to give themselves that because we have a lot of the answers in ourselves, within ourselves. We don't listen. We don't take the time and we don't listen sometimes. So.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, we all have the same 24 hours a day. And that even if we start with 60 seconds of quiet, 60 seconds of quiet and asking ourselves, what's next? Who am I becoming? I love the idea of, like, it doesn't have to be an epic retreat. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't even need to be 10 minutes at the beginning. Like simply, checking in with yourself. I think that's such beautiful advice. Oh, Liz, thank you so much for joining me today. You bet. For those of you in the Fire Up community, thank you again for joining us live and on the replay and on the podcast, wherever you are consuming this amazing content. If you have questions for Liz, please feel free to either drop them in the blog notes or in the comment section here on Facebook, and I will be sure to get those over to her after the summit happens. So until then, have a great day. And remember, always look for those opportunities to engage, elevate, and empower your world. See you later.